All right, JP Morosi joining
If I
us.
was a rider, I'd be dangerous.
We're very aware of that, Harold, very aware. JP Morosi, far less dangerous, one of the more likable gentlemen in the print craft, I would add my own thoughts on that. JP, good morning. Let's get you right off on this Aaron Nola deal. Now that we know that it's done, 7 years, big piece of money, and a guy who's super important to a really good rotation returns, what does it mean for the rest of the market?
Well, Matt and Jake, good morning. This is a very important contract because it sets the level at the outset of this offseason for what you would have to pay for an all-star caliber pitcher in Aaron Nola. And then there are those teams that were the runners-up to sign him who must now redouble their efforts to bring in a pitcher. I'm speaking specifically about the Atlanta Braves. They have been very involved in the market overall. They were among the teams that liked Aaron Nola a lot. And one pitcher that I'd mention in close ties with the Braves at this moment is Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray from the Nashville, Tennessee area. So the Braves would be a bit of a homecoming for him. Probably a shorter duration of term than you would have with Nola because he's a little bit older. But the performance, we saw Sonny, of course, on our show this week as a Cy Young finalist in the American League. There's a lot of really good pitching out there, Matt and Jake. You look at Jordan Montgomery, who, of course, is not attached to the qualifying offer because he was traded at midseason. So that helps his market value overall. Lucas Giolito, I thought, had moments of brilliance during the course of this season. And as you see it there at the bottom of the right-hand side, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, we're expecting that he will be posted formally this week by the Oryx Buffaloes. So Blake Snell, of course, the reigning NL Cy Young winner. It's been a long time, Matt and Jake, since we've seen a starting pitching free agent class this deep and this good. And with Nola signing, we at least now have a stake in the ground, so to speak, as to what the measuring point will be for all the contracts that follow.
All right, so let's get you to the next measuring point. If, in fact, Aaron Nola is the top of the market, around the top, maybe even north of that number is the one that Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to sign for. Is it accurate to say that maybe the rest of the market is on hold until this domino drops, or are there teams that are not in this market that can still do business?
It's an excellent question, Matt. I do think that we could see Sonny Gray sign before Yamamoto because given Gray's age and Yamamoto's age, there's a difference there. There's a gap there of a few years to where you could see Gray sign that higher AAV, shorter term deal in the near term. With Yamamoto, a big part of why the industry is so excited about him is, yes, the repertoire, the ability to make pitches. We saw how great he was in the World Baseball Classic against a lot of major league competition. But the key thing is how young Yamamoto is. And, of course, you see there the celebration after his no-hitter. Brian Cashman was there in attendance watching him. The Dodgers have scouted him thoroughly. The Cardinals have scouted him thoroughly. I would look at a team like the Mariners as a really strong possibility to sign him and then potentially trade from their starting pitching depth to bring in a bat. Matt, he is such a unique pitcher because of how accomplished he is. He's won the Sawamura Award in Japan 3 straight years, which is the top pitcher and also the top off-the-field citizen in Japanese baseball. So he is an A-level character guy plus an A-level pitcher, and it's that he's in his mid-20s. That's why a lot of the marquee teams, Dodgers, Giants, Cardinals, yes, the Mariners too, the Yankees, they're all waiting for Yamamoto. But I do think we could potentially see that pairing between Gray and the Braves happen before Yamamoto signs.
Going to be interesting. I want to ask you about Brandon Woodruff. JP, interesting story we have here with him being non-tendered, beloved. What do you see next for him?
You know, Jake, it's a great question. I was actually told over the weekend that as soon as the non-tendering became official from the Brewers on Friday, that Woodruff's representatives started hearing from teams all around the league. And Jake, we always are reluctant to say too specifically how many teams have reached out. But I would say this, that over the weekend, I am told a majority of teams in Major League Baseball made contact with Woodruff's representative to express interest. Now, the thing about Brandon that's really interesting here, Jake, is he could come back potentially in the second half of this year. There is a comparison to be made between the procedure that Clayton Kershaw had and what Woodruff had. And with Kershaw, who of course is older, there is still a hope that Clayton's going to be able to pitch in the second half of this season. Now, Woodruff, it may be a couple weeks here or there, but the expectation is that around the same time that Clayton comes back, that Woodruff could come back. And you see it there. He has been an all-star level pitcher for a long time with the Milwaukee Brewers. But you see that very important text on the lower right-hand corner. Expected to miss most or all of 2024. If it's just most and he comes back towards the end and can impact your playoff rotation, that's meaningful. Plus, then you take that 2025 piece of the equation. I really believe, Jake, that the interest in Woodruff is going to be in a 2-year deal. You're not going to sign him for just 2024 because who knows exactly what you get from him. You need to make sure this deal is at least 2 years, so that way you capture the guaranteed portion of what you expect to be an all-star level pitcher again in 2025.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say the team that goes north of 2 years is the one that's going to be in better shape here. You know what you're getting here. But the question is this, and it's perfect that we have Jake next to us, because not many of us know the feeling of tearing a muscle off the back of our shoulder as Mr. Peavy did at one point in his career. To think that he could come back next year with a shoulder injury, I know his shoulder injury is different than yours. Shoulder is pretty tough. I mean, that's not an easy rehab.
Well, it's not the elbow. You're exactly right. But again, when you put those 7 seasons up that JP just built in his board, you're seeing Brandon Woodruff. You just can't go find a guy that can do what he does.
Yeah.
So you sign him, you rehab him, put him in your system, you take care of that shoulder, and you get some bit, 90% of what he was. You've got a front end of your rotation starter that's going to make an impact.
Yeah. All right. Hey, JP, so we looked at the grid here a moment ago. You offered suggestions, and I'm guessing you're going to focus on the Detroit line, and I would appreciate the help there. Even though I think I have a Brewer Tiger that I don't know, I put in the wrong Soto a moment ago, so we're down to 8 guesses. Let me just do this because I have one. This is a little bit of a guess. My boy Nino Bina. Yeah.
That is exactly right.
Okay.
Well done.
What else you got?
You also could have gone Prince Fielder there.
Too chalky.
Right, I know. For the Tigers Phillies line, if you go to the other side of that Soto deal, Matt Vierling would maybe not have quite as many guesses. So let's go Matt Vierling there.
Matt Vierling, by the way, left Philly even though he was one of the few players that had a car deal. Matt Vierling had a car deal. Good for Matt.
They love their Phillies.
Matt Vierling.
5%er.
Now,
good. What else?
Tigers Twins. I'll give you probably a pretty good rarity score here. Delman Young.
Good one. You know, the Young brothers, Delman and Dimitri, they fill a lot of boxes in this game. That's good. I got one here that is a standby for me, and I'm pretty sure I remember him in Arizona. Kelly Stinnett.
And here we go. How about this one, Matty?
And here we're going. Hang on. I got one here. UCLA guy. Good guy despite his UCLA background, as I like to say, as a bitter USC kid. Sean Berry. All right. That's all I got here. Anything else?
I believe for the Twins and Diamondbacks, didn't Jason Bartlett play for the Diamondbacks as well?
Jason Bartlett is so good on so many of these boards. I don't remember him with the Diamondbacks, but if you're saying it's so.
I'm taking a leap of faith here, Matty. I'm taking a leap of faith.
All right, let's try it. Jason Bartlett. No.
No. Oh, too bad.
That's all right.
My fault.
We were already kind of behind the 8 ball when I mistyped Giovanni Soto.
Did Plesac play for the Arizona Diamondbacks?
He did.
There's Philly Diamondbacks.
Oh,
there you
my
go.
Gosh, Jake, of course. You know what? That's borderline insulting when we forget one of our own guys.
Well, yeah, we're going for the rarity score.
But
superstar.
Dan is going to give you a good little pop. 0.4.
There you go.
Look at the young Indiana corn-fed left-hander there. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll get back to the grid later. We're down to one guess, so we're not going to do real well today, but thank goodness for this thing. Honestly, there have been mornings when I've woken up and had nothing to do on the internet but that. JP Morosi with us on a Monday. JP, thanks.